is Orange Seeds TV, where we know that when you
train up a child the way he or she should go, when they get old, they'll never forget it. Proverbs 22, verse 6.
We are so excited that you've joined us today. Together, we're going to learn about God, the Bible, forgiveness, friendship, love, and so much more. So please join us as we worship together.
Now it's time for praise and worship. So get ready to sing, clap, and move with us.
Leading us in praise and worship today is
All to Jesus I surrender. All to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him. In His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender. Humbly at His feet I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken. Take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I wanna clap a little louder than before. I wanna sing a little louder than before. I wanna jump higher than before. I wanna shout louder. Freedom, 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 freedom.
boys and girls. This is the story of the Good Samaritan. Jesus said, "There once was a Jewish man walking along a road. He was coming from Jerusalem and was heading to Jericho, which was a full day or two of walking. The road was rocky and there were small hills all around. The man was just humming to himself and enjoying the nice day when suddenly a group of men jumped out from behind a hill. They took all his belongings and tore off most of his clothes. They didn't want him to follow them, so they beat him up very badly and left him lying and bleeding on the side of the road. A few minutes later, a priest was walking by. He noticed the man laying on the side of the road. Do you know what he did? You'd think he'd run over and help the man. Instead, he crossed the road and walked on the other side and acted like he did not see the man. An hour or so later, another man called a Levite was walking down the road. Levites were people who assisted priests with their work. He would probably help the man. But do you know what he did? He slowed down. He walked a little closer to the man, but kept walking without helping him at all. You might be thinking that maybe the man laying by the side of the road looked like he was resting or something. That's why the priest and the Levite didn't stop to help. The trouble is, it was easy to tell he was badly hurt. The man was bleeding and had most of his clothes ripped off of him, and he was bruised and breathing very labored. Just a few minutes later, another man came walking. He was a Samaritan. One thing you should know about Samaritans is that Jews did not like them. Jews didn't really treat Samaritans very well, so they never got along. The man was dying on the road, and he was a Jew. So do you think the Samaritan would help? You would think he would probably walk by or even laugh at the man. Not the case. The Good Samaritan knew as soon as he saw the man bleeding on the side of the road, he needed to help. He had compassion for him. He put bandages on his sores and poured oil and wine, which were really expensive, on his sores to prevent them from getting worse. He lifted the man on his own donkey and took him to a hotel to take care of him. The next day, the Samaritan took out enough money so the man could stay at the hotel until he was well enough to leave. He paid the man at the front desk and said, "Take care of him. And if he wasn't better, after 2 months, I'd come back and pay the extra cost." After Jesus finished telling the story, he asked, "Which of the three men do you think was a neighbor to the man?" The man who asked the question at the beginning replied, "The one who had compassion and helped him." Jesus told him, "Go and do the same." Bible verse from John 15:12 says, "Here's my command. Love each other as I have loved you." A legal expert asked Jesus what someone had to do to live with God forever. The legal expert thought he already knew the answer. He thought he would be able to show the crowd that Jesus didn't know the law as well as he did. You know the law. What do you think it says? Well, the man must have felt really, really smart when he quoted from Deuteronomy 6:5 and Leviticus 19:18 that said, we needed to do two things. First, love God with everything you have, then love your neighbor as you love yourself. And you know what? The answer the legal expert gave was completely right. Well, boys and girls, did you like that story? I sure did. I love telling it. But here's a quick question for you. Let's play a little mental multiple choice. Who is your neighbor? Is it A, someone who lives next door to you? Is it B, someone that you come in contact with and show them love and sympathy and empathy? Or is it C, all of the above? Well, if you said A, you're correct. If you said B, you're correct. If you said C, you're also correct. You see, boys and girls, in the literal sense of the word, yes, your neighbor is someone who lives next door to you. But do you know there are neighbors who fight, quarrel, cuss, and fuss with each other for years and years and years over simple things? Like your kids are playing too much, making too much noise. The music you're playing is too loud. I've even heard cases where people complain about the color of paint on someone else's house. So you see, if somebody's your neighbor, they don't always have to get along with you. If you said B, in the parable of the Good Samaritan, that is God's example of a true neighbor. Regardless of whether you know someone or not, you treat them the same way as Jesus would treat you. Make sure, as you go about your life, you remember this story. And don't just remember it, put it into action. Because I'm sure if you look at the news right now, there's a whole lot of stuff going on where people are not good neighbors to each other. Follow Jesus' example. Have love and empathy for those that you meet. Empathy means putting yourself into someone else's situation or into someone else's shoes to understand how they feel. When you do that, you too will be a good neighbor. I hope you like this story. I hope you learned your lesson. Until next time, Kodo Seeds.
Boys and girls, in today's object lesson, we're going to be talking about kindness and the Good Samaritan. According to Google, the definition of kindness is the qualities of being friendly, generous, and kind to others. Now, in the parable Jesus told, there was a man walking from Jerusalem to Jericho, and while he was walking home, he was attacked by robbers and beaten and left on the side of the road. There were 3 men who came and walked by. The first man was a priest. He prayed and he kept on walking. The second man, who was a township man, he saw him and got scared and jumped on the other side of the street and kept walking as well. Lastly, the third man, which is the Samaritan, stopped and decided to help him. Now, what's funny is, the Samaritans and Jews did not get along, but that did not stop the Samaritan man. He cleaned his wounds, bandaged him up, and took him to a hotel and paid for his stay and lounging until he got better. And he told the housekeeper, or the guy who owns the hotel, that when he gets back, he will pay him the remaining money that he owed him. That is a true act of kindness. Now, for the activity I want to show you guys today, I'm going to call it the ripple of kindness. For this project, you're going to need a large bowl with water, some rice, some coins, and a rock. A few rocks. Now, each of these items that we're using all represent something. The bowl represents our community. The water represents the people and places within the community. And the table represents the world. The rice represents the small acts of kindness. The coins represent the medium size of kindness. And lastly, the rocks represent our large acts of kindness. For our rice, which is considered to be our small act of kindness, can be smiling at a friend or a stranger, or holding the door for someone, and even sharing a toy with your friends or family. The medium size, which is our coins, is a little bit more effort when it comes to our kindness. And this is donating to a charity or doing chores for mom and dad. And lastly, which we have our rocks, which is our large amount of acts of kindness, is setting up a fundraiser at school or helping out at a nursing home, volunteering. Those are big acts of kindness. Now, while we're dropping these items into our large bowl of water, I want you to observe the ripple effects that happen as we go. When we started with the rice, there were tiny ripple effects that we saw, very, very tiny. And as we got to the medium size, which is our coins, we saw splashes and bigger sizes of ripple effects. And lastly, when we got to our rocks, that's when we saw the biggest splash of them all. Now, boys and girls, I want you to look at the simple acts of kindness that we did and imagine if we did that throughout the whole community. Once we added more and more items to our water, that's when we saw more acts of kindness throughout our community, and it made everyone feel glad. Now, how did that make you feel? It made me feel glad knowing that I can spread my kindness throughout the world and people will receive it. Also, boys and girls, I want you to remember that even the smallest acts of kindness can still hold a large impact, just like a big act of kindness as well. So, boys and girls, as we end today's object lesson, I want you to remember that kindness makes the world a better place. Kindness upon kindness upon kindness is all we would ever want in this world. So I want you to take a step and do a small act of kindness today. I hope you enjoyed this object lesson for today. Bye!
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Growing Seeds, where boys and girls from all over ask questions to help their little minds grow. Hey, Jay, can you let everyone know who the question is from this week?
The question this week is from a boy named James. His question asks, why do I feel bad when I do something wrong?
Really good question, James. I know what you mean. When you do something wrong, sometimes you get a really bad feeling. I think we need to call on some help to help us answer this question. Hey, Chaplain Stewart, can you help us out?
Hello, Orange Seeds. How are y'all doing? This is your friend Chaplain Stewart, and I want to give a quick shout out to James for asking a really great question. Why do I feel bad when I do something wrong? So listen, everyone has feelings of right and wrong. And a really fun fact that I discovered in Romans 2:14 through 15 is that God has placed his law in our hearts and given everyone a human conscience. This means that you and I have an inner guide to help us choose between right and wrong and, get this, obey God's law. The thing is, boys and girls, when we go against that law, our inner guide sends off a signal like danger alert, to let us know we have done something wrong. This is what the Apostle Peter felt when he denied Jesus 3 times. He cried because he knew he had done something wrong. Another famous person who felt really bad after doing something wrong was King David. But to remedy that guilty feeling, he admitted his sin to God and asked God to forgive him. Boys and girls, we serve a God who is faithful and fair. And 1 John 1:9 reminds us that if we confess our sins, God will forgive us. So if and when you do something wrong, I want you to remember to ask Jesus to forgive you and believe that he has forgiven you, and that guilty feeling will go away. Listen, I hope this answered your question, and I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Take care.
Wow, Chaplain Stewart. Thank you for that amazing response. And thank you for helping our little minds grow much more in Christ. Tune in next time. We can't wait to see what questions you guys are going to ask us all next.
Hi, Orange Seeds. Would you like to be a part of our worship experience? You can by either singing or playing your favorite worship song by yourself, with a friend, or your whole family. You can do a how-to like Jacob and Ashley have, or you can even submit Do You Know, which are interesting and cool facts. Do that by going to www.cotosda.org/children's. Look up at the top and click the orange button that says Submit Entries. Make sure you follow all of the directions. We hope to see all of your submissions and all of your entries. We also hope to see you on our next Orange Seed episode. But until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay blessed.
Mommy! Mommy! Mommy!
Guys, what's the matter? What happened?
It's time to go.
It's not time to go. I was having fun listening to Orange Seeds. Weren't you guys having fun listening to Orange Seeds?
Yeah. But Mommy, it's time to go.
Okay, boys and girls, just remember that.
Without the seed, nothing grows.
Who are the seeds?
We are the seeds.
That's right, boys and girls. You are a seed for God, and he wants you to spread his word. So I want you to put your thumbs up like this, point to yourselves, and repeat after me. I am a seed for God. I am a seed for God. Okay, ready? I am a seed for God. I am a seed for God. One more time. I am a seed for God. I am a seed for God. Until next time, boys and girls. Bye.